Welcome to the theater of war. Take a soldier, add a song, recitation, oratory, impersonation, or comedic act, and the invisible walls of forgetting are erected, where silence becomes a song as the strikes of war rage over there. But now we are here on our makeshift stages. Some are from the ranks and some are from Canada and Britain, traveling groups. But anywhere, anytime, anyone capable would sing an old song. Everywhere except the trenches, that is. The only music coming from there was the lone bagpiper, who played the men over the top into the charge. Pipers won battles in World War I. Songs had been a big part of the life they left behind. It was the heyday of the song, and it was songs that got people through those first days of the war. The news was received with great enthusiasm that August day in 1914, and what followed was not fear but excitement and impatience. The fever ran high, and the song was patriotic. The Maple Leaf Forever, O Canada, La Marseillaise, Rule Britannia. It was a jubilant hysteria. Old British war songs and patriotic airs could be heard coming from the places where people gathered, which was everywhere during those anxious days. But they weren't singing for peace, they were singing for war. But by the time 1915 came around, all of that had changed. By the time the Great War was raging, the patriotic songs had stopped, and the soldiers now needed a song of relief as much as food and water, as months turned into years in the God-forsaken trenches. It had become a new type of hysteria. In the beginning, a man with a talent would come forward and was cherished. Douglas, the ventriloquist dummy, and his soldier Arthur were given a job in the orderly room and was spared the trenches for a song. Groups of entertainers formed within divisions. Officers also took part. One Canadian soldier tells that his colonel was, and I quote, nuts on singing. Every Tuesday he assembled 3,500 men for old-time singing classes. The Canadian YMCA took 36 pianos, among other things, to France and set them up here and there, and 200 phonographs and 4,000 records, too. Barns and huts were converted into performance areas, and the concert parties of the war were born. Everyone had one. The First Army headquarters had a concert party called Les Rouges et les Noirs. Even the Pay and Records office in London had its own concert party, the Canadian Octet. Concert parties took comedy and song all over France, often sticking to the same divisions for months. There were the Dumbbells, the C2s, the Autumn Leaves, the Maple Leaves, the Diamond Troop, the Aztec Coves, the Cooees, the Merry Moles, the Very Lights, the Y-Emmas, the Roosters, the Monos, the Firing Line, featuring a variety, from opera singers to the very popular female impersonators, often draped in curtains. It is said they loved a poem set to music, a story song with comic melodrama, songs of camaraderie, and religious songs too. They could not have too many hymns. Rock of Ages. Soldiers would join in playing mouth organs or combs. There's an old-fashioned house in an old-fashioned street. Songs of sweetheart, mother, and home. And there was the nonsense song called The Soldier Philosophy, about things that didn't matter, which was about numbness, forgetting, and staying on track. They sang songs of hope for the future and finding the girl they left behind, still there. So just smile all the while I'm over the sea. But the song was the calm before the storm. Before battles, 24 hours before a charge, a concert was held. The troubadours of World War I looked out from the stages as they sang their heartfelt songs at men whom they knew could be dead the next day. Then, on the day of the battle, soldiers would go to gatherings called smokers. This was a calm time of singing and smoking. And then, as night came, they retreated back to their beds, and a silence fell, each man alone with himself, to reflect, pray, or write a letter home. For soon morning comes, and soon to die. Their songs have gone, but the song still remembers. The song tells their tale. The song documents and revisits, uplifts and upholds their memory, the memory of World War I. And then the battles would begin.
was a pleasant Thursday. The sun began to set. It was April 22nd. I never shall forget, lads, never shall forget. We had a fierce bombardment, and as its thunder passed, then from behind those German lines, we got a whiff of gas, lads, we got a whiff of gas. The Algerians, they got it first and fled away pell-mell. But where the fumes had struck them down, we saw a glimpse of hell, lads, saw a glimpse of hell. A stifling, killing smell it had, a stench that suffocates, and coughing blood beside me, I lost 24 mates. There was no place to run from it, no refuge to be seen. For you can't shoot or bayonet a rolling cloud of green. Death crept in upon the breeze, poison filled the air. It seeped into the trenches, and it killed our fellas there, lads, killed our fellas there. They said to wet our handkerchiefs, tie them round our heads. And those who couldn't manage, well, they wound up lying dead, lads, wound up lying dead. It smelled like bleach upon the wind, deadly chlorine gas. The only good it ever did was kill our blasted rats, lads, kill our blasted rats. A stifling, killing smell it had, a stench that suffocates, and coughing blood beside me, I lost 24 mates. There was no place to run from it, no refuge to be seen. For you can't shoot or bayonet a rolling cloud of green. Closed our ranks, we held the flank, we forced the foe away. Our boys turned into soldiers on that bitter, bloody day, lads, bitter, bloody day. 4 weeks of fighting followed, the dead they lay in heaps. We called it hell upon this earth, they call it Second Ypres, boys, call it Second Ypres.